It's your boy OG. I'm here on the Gifted Gab. Thank you for having me, Alex. It's my honor to be here. We got the YEGMG hats for sale, and you can get them at YEGMG.com using the code the Gifted Gab. You can get 5% off. If you don't believe that there is a systemic issue, I don't want you wearing my hat. If you do believe there is, I would love to see your support. We got lots more clothing coming here in the next couple of weeks. We got Black Lives Matter hats, Black Lives Matter masks, t-shirts, all that coming in memoriam for George Floyd and all the other lives that have been lost. And 50% of the proceeds of that Black Lives Matter will go to the George Floyd Memorial Fund. So you guys are going to be helping the cause that way. It's your boy OG. Alex, thank you for having me.
Support black businesses. We're here.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the Gifted Gab. I've got a special guest on with me today. Edmonton's own, locally grown, OG Jonah. What's going on, my guy?
God bless you, man. Thank you for having me.
You already know. Welcome to the show.
Excited to be here.
I think this is a little long overdue.
Word it is, man.
You know, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, about what you're doing, the music game. You got your own brand.
Yeah, man. It's been a blessing. Started making music like 2015. Took it seriously about a year later and started on my own label, YEGMG, and it's grown like into a brand, as you said. Like people recognize it. People recognize the logo. That's why I put it on my car. You know, I was driving the other day and some kid pulled up and he's like, "Oh, he's like, yo, what's up?"
That's
so
dope.
like people recognize it, and it's a blessing. And with my music, it's awesome that I can use it as a tool in this fight, because I've made so many songs in the past week. Like I was in the studio, made like 7-8 songs, all addressing what's going on, because like I just have to let it out, and I feel like I'm just letting out 2 decades of
Pain.
You know, 23 years of pain, just letting it out. And like I said, it's a blessing that I have that platform, and I can use that platform to bring awareness to people that there are young Edmontonians who are hungry for change and who will go out and get change and won't be intimidated by bills, won't be intimidated by popular opinion, won't be intimidated by losing friends and maybe upsetting those who are close to us.
You know, that's awesome, bro. I love that. I love that you're using your creativity, you're using your platform. That's what we're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? If we have anything in any way to contribute to the fight, we got to use it, you know, and especially as black people, we got to hold ourselves accountable.
Yep.
Right? And then hold everybody else accountable. That's what's up. You know, here on the Gifted Gab, we refer to a lot of what goes on in Edmonton from the perspective of people that are from Toronto. You know what I'm saying? So our perspective has always been the outside looking in. What is growing up in Edmonton like as a black man?
Before I answer that question, I got a burning question. How long have you guys been here from Toronto?
So I've been here on and off, I think 3 years now. I went to school here. I played ball here for a little bit.
Okay.
Two seasons.
Okay.
And then so that altogether was probably like maybe 12 months, 14 months or whatever. And then my family opened a business here. And we all uprooted to here. My family was in Calgary at the time. I was still back and forth between Edmonton, Calgary, Toronto.
Right.
But it's been coming on 2 years now.
Okay.
You know,
So still a little bit. So it must be still new though.
It's still fresh.
Toronto's all you know, and then you see it is. So to answer your question, man, I didn't grow up in government housing. I didn't grow up in a poverty-stricken area. I ain't gonna lie. I grew up in Riverbend. I don't know how well you know the city, but that's on the southwest, and it's a pretty white neighborhood. So in my school, in my elementary, I was the only black kid in my junior high, one of like 5 black kids in my high school. So I grew up confused on the social sense about what it meant to be black. I'd go home and my mom is a strong black woman, and she held it down, and she made sure that we knew our Nigerian roots. We were very well rooted in the Nigerian community. We were very focused on education, as we all are as immigrants, you know, and I played sports. I know you did too, so you were focused on that. I was focused on that too. But the reason I say confused is because you're not always with your mom.
You know, you go out into the world, and as a young teenager and a young kid, those are the most formidable years of your life, and you spend a lot of time with people at school and at sport teams more than you do with your family.
100%. That's
More
your
than
family
you do,
away from your family.
exactly,
Yeah.
more than you do with your community. So being in those groups of people, being in those circles as a young kid, and like trying to fit in, and not trying to fit in, but trying to fit in, it really left me wondering, what does it mean to truly be black? Because like I don't even have that many black friends, like because of where I live and I play this sport. I got my friends and my cousins, you know, my family members from the Nigerian community, but they still, like, we all live on different sides of the city, so it's not the same.
So you played hockey?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I wanted to play hockey when I was younger.
Word.
But it was expensive.
Yeah.
It's violent. You know what I mean? But it looks like fun. So what's the hockey culture like? You know, like the team culture, the team atmosphere, especially being black.
The hockey culture is, for the most part, they're open. They're very accepting, but they didn't become open at first. It took some warming up to. And not everybody, of course. There's always, like, the police love saying bad apples. There's always bad apples. So there are a few people who didn't take on to a black kid playing hockey, and I just happened to be good. I started playing pretty late, but I loved it, and I was really good, and I played on a lot of high teams, and I was taking spots over people, and people didn't like that. People were getting upset and would begin using tactics that they would never use if I wasn't black. Let me tell you a story. I played SSAC. My first year, I made AAA, Bantam AAA. I was 13 years old. We ended up being the best team in the province that year. We only lost 4 games, and we won provincials, and we got bronze in Westerns. And of that 19-man roster, about 10 of those guys got drafted to the NHL. One, one who's probably doing the best out of everyone right now, Jake DeBrusk. He was just in the Stanley Cup final last year. And that team, I made that team. There was like a month of tryouts. 1,000 kids tried out. I made that team. Out of the 1,000, I was the top 19. And the organization came to my mom and told my mom that, look, there's other people who need that spot over Clinton. Wow. Because they told the coach to say this to my mom. The coach is like, he earned the spot. Like, we did tryouts. Like, it's a skill-based sport. He earned the spot. So the coach didn't want to be in the middle of that. And that's still an issue, that he didn't take a stand. The organization told my mom that they would give her $1,000 scholarship for me. So, like, they would reduce my fees by $1,000 if she dropped me down from AAA to AA. And AA, there's like 3 AA teams, but there's only 1 AAA team.
It's not the top dogs.
Yeah, you know, so it's a big deal. And she's like, how can I tell my son this? How can I tell my 13-year-old son who worked his butt off and made this team that now, because you guys have a bigger sponsor, someone who has big pockets, is writing checks and has dinners with the coach, and you guys golf on the weekends together, their kid didn't make it, now my kid has to come down? How? You tell me, how would you tell your 13-year-old son that?
That's disgusting. My
mom held her ground, and she didn't bring me down. She didn't even tell me that until like a few years later, until I stopped playing with SSAC, until like I moved on to the Alberta Junior Hockey League, and I was irate, and she didn't want to bring it up with SSAC because I had a little brother, right? And she didn't know at that time if he was going to play hockey because like, I was playing hockey. So, you know, she's like, what if he goes through SSAC again? Like, I don't want him to be discriminated against.
And he plays hockey too?
No, he doesn't. He does. He didn't anyway. So, like, that's why that shouldn't even be a reason, but that just showed my mom scared to speak up on it because she doesn't want
to damage the chance for the other son.
Exactly. But no, he plays football, basketball, and track.
That's what's up. Good for him. Yeah. But, you know, kudos to your mom on speaking out, right? So you would say that there is some white privilege in sports?
100%.
That's interesting. That is a very interesting point, because, you know, we're told to believe that sports is based on merit and merit alone. But sometimes, you know, sometimes somebody's money is green. you know, and,
Yeah.
money is power in an age where we're surrounded by consumerism. Honestly, I'm at a loss for words. Like that's a very fucked up story.
Bro, like you can't even make this up. I could call my mom right now. She'll tell you the whole thing
Then
in
that's-
even deeper detail than I just told you.
And have you ever told that story to anybody else?
Never. I've
That's
never
crazy.
had the conversation too. I didn't know how to bring it up. I didn't know who would care. I didn't know who would listen. Like, if someone even told that to me, I'd be like, "You're lying." Like, that's fake.
I
Like,
would
you
be
know,
like,
like
"You're
if I didn't know how discrimination works and I wasn't accustomed to anything and I was uneducated, like a lot of people are, I'd be like, "You're lying." Like, there's no way an organization told your mom, like, bribed your mom pretty much to remove you from a team. Like, that doesn't sound real.
It doesn't, but it's a reality.
Yeah.
In a place where a lot of people say, you know, hey, Canada's better than, you know, I don't want to say our neighbors to the south of the border. You know what I mean? Like, that's the reality of the situation. If it's in sports, then who's to say it's not in every other institution or every other organization or any other athletics? You know, it could be in basketball. It could be in, you know, obviously we know it's universities as well. The workplace,
Yep.
the police system,
Yep.
you know, and that's why you got to speak out. It's your duty to speak out on this stuff. And sometimes you don't understand how to speak out on it, you know, especially when you don't know who's on your team.
Yeah.
So thank you for just even, you know, bringing that up right now and like
My
bringing
pleasure,
awareness to
man.
that.
You know, like I know God's on my team. I know Jesus is on my team, and that's where I get the strength and the words to speak. Cause like I don't even know how to talk about these issues. That's why I haven't for so long. But I'm just letting the Spirit guide me, and like it's
As you should.
it's a blessing.
It is a blessing.
And like the Bible says, when Jesus speaks, his sheep listen. His sheep know his voice, and he knows his sheep. I'm not saying I'm Jesus, but I'm saying we all have a voice, and when we speak, we all hear each other's voice if we're on the same frequency as the person speaking, if we're agreeing with the same thing, if we're striving for the same future. And I had no clue the outpour of people in Edmonton are on the same frequency.
There's a lot of people on the same
A lot of people from, like, you saw that kid was like 4, that girl was 4 years old, 11 years old. Then like there were older people there too. I saw like old white people. I'm sure you did too at the back. You see all those old people. Like it's like, yo, like we have a lot of support, and we had a lot of people our age. A lot of people our age were there too. That was the bulk of the people, I would say, and that goes to show that young Edmontonians want change in their city, because we're the ones who are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, of today.
Of today.
Not even of tomorrow, of today. We're the leaders of today. Grooming the kids who are the leaders of tomorrow.
It's funny because I was telling you this, and I was telling my bro this. I had no intention of going to the protest yesterday. Am I lying? We had no intention at all. We literally just said, yo, let's go see what's going on. You know, let's go pass by. And, like, some things, they're just unexplainable. Like, I don't know what possessed me. I left my man waiting here for, like, an hour. But, like, I don't know what said, yo, let's go. You know what I mean? But, like, it led me there, and it led me to something that's a greater purpose. And that's, you know, fighting the good fight. And now we're here, and we're discussing. And, like, this is what, you know, not just people, but black people need to learn to do is come together regardless of, you know, regardless of religion, background, where you're from, whatever. Be able to sit at the table and say, how do we take it one step further? How do we bring awareness and then move forward? You know what I'm saying? Because I've mentioned on this podcast before, I've had many instances, racist incidents, some mild, you know, like microaggressions, you know, like you guys already know about the waiter who asked me if I'm a drug dealer, but that's, check the YouTube for that.
What?
You know, yeah.
Tell me.
I just had a Cactus Club paying my bills, saying, you know, I gotta go home, go back to work tomorrow. You know, what do you? Waiter asked me what I do. I manage a business, and she asked me if I'm a drug dealer, like blatant, just like that. You know, it's crazy because that's like,
Why?
Exactly why? That's the question. Why? And it's crazy because of all the experiences I've had with racism. That's probably like at the bottom of the barrel. You know what I'm saying? Like there's things like I've seen how the police system is broken here. You know, I haven't said this publicly, but I've witnessed the police kill somebody before when I was 17 years old. You know, and my brother was there too. You know what I'm saying? As a 17-year-old growing up in the inner city, you grow up to think that shit is normal. You grow up to think that happens every day because there was other people that it's happened to.
That's horrible, man.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't know how to speak out on that stuff at a young age. You know? So all the other instances, you know, the getting carded, getting pulled over for no reason, for literally just being black, being accused of stealing my own mother's car, who I share a last name with. I've been pulled over and accused of painting my mother's car a different color.
Your mother's car, that you have the same last name, same address,
same everything. You know what I'm saying? And the worst part about it was a black cop. And his partner stood there and didn't say anything to me. And, like, wouldn't intervene, no nothing. So, like, these instances with the police, these instances of racism that we're seeing, these are, like, we're all seeing. We all have different types of experiences. And at the protest yesterday, everybody came together to share a common problem, but also to come to a common solution.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So racism is a big problem in Canada. You know, from the foundation of how this country was founded, all the way to the systems. You know, the government housing, the schools,
mm-hmm.
the universities, the
mm-hmm.
access to education. They
mm-hmm.
make it accessible in Ontario, but they don't make it accessible out here.
Mm-hmm.
If you tell me for me to get an education, I have to take a $50,000 loan, that's gonna cripple me.
You get a house.
Yeah, you can get a house. How do you position yourself to overcome? Yeah, it's easy to pay off debt, but like, there's no other options. You know what I'm saying?
For a lot of people, it's not easy to pay off debt.
It's not easy to pay off debt. No, but like, you know, the system is designed this way on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and in order to realize that, we need to educate ourselves. We need to educate our peers. We need to educate white people.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And that's what you were doing yesterday. You took it upon yourself to bring people together yesterday. Nobody told you to do that.
God bless you, man.
You know what I'm saying? So kudos to you on that. You know, I commend that. You know what I'm saying?
God bless you.
It starts in the backyard.
All the glory goes to God, man.
Hey, man, all praise due to the Most High.
Yes,
But
sir.
you know, it's so. What I was gonna ask you next, which was, tell me about the music.
Tell you about what?
Your music.
My music.
Yeah, how are you using your music to make a change?
I'm using my music to make a change because I have a lot of people that listen to me. And I have a voice. I have a way to directly get into people's ears already. Because it's one thing, we all have followers. We all have friends that we can use and talk to and educate. But it's a blessing to have a platform. And I've been just talking about situations and experiences that I've gone through and that I am going through in the state of the world right now. Things I've never talked about in my music, but things I've always wanted to talk about, but just didn't know how. Didn't know how to talk about it. Didn't know how it would be accepted. But now it's just like, I know and how, because it's just coming out of me naturally, and I know that I don't care how it's accepted, because the city's shown that they want change the same way the rest of the world wants change. So
that's what's up. And you started your own brand, your own company, which means I assume that you're not looking to go the getting signed route.
No.
You're looking to remain independent.
Yeah.
And that's a conscious decision on your part, right?
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot. I'm like, you know, like, do I want to get signed or do I want to stay independent? Like, I've thought about it a lot, like, battled myself with it. But I'm like, I want to be independent because I started this wanting to be independent. And with the strength of God and the gifts he's given me and my work ethic, I'm going to go to the moon being independent. I look at a rapper like Young Dolph. He's still independent. And he's pretty big. And there's Jay-Z. He's independent. You know, Nipsey was independent. P. Diddy. Like, I look up to those moguls like that. And I know it's going to be a longer route. I know it's going to be a harder route. But I'm going to remain independent, remain humble, and keep working. And everything that I've gone so far has been a blessing. I'm not supposed to have anything I have. I'm not supposed to be here talking to you. I'm the least qualified person to talk on this issue. I'm the least qualified person to have a business and be running a successful business and be an artist and be a leader and be a vocalist for people who are oppressed. I have no qualifications for that, but that just shows that this is bigger than you and me. This is God just using my life and the things I find interesting and my talents to make a better world.
That's what's up, bro. That's what I commend it, man. I'm all for it. I'm all for supporting local artists. I think Canada has the potential to really shift the culture. The only thing that makes it difficult for Canada is, there's not many big cities to go and tour in, which is why a lot of artists do want to get signed so that they can take their brand to the United States and they can go to all the different cities, because a lot of the money is made in touring, unless you build your own company and build a business around the music, because you don't really get paid from music, right?
I get paid for streams.
For streams, yeah. But compared to everything else you're making.
Everything else is the bread and butter. Music's just the foundation.
The foundation, exactly. And I don't think people understand that part. That music is a business. It's not just I put my stuff up and you do get paid for it, but it's not like, oh, I put this stuff out here, it's going to make me this much. You're not going to make $1 million solely off streams. It's going to be around the business you build around the music. So kudos to you for understanding that, especially in a place that hasn't been local friendly,
Thank you, man. It's just about showing people that time for change is now. I've always believed that in my music. That's why I've gone as hard as I have. And I knew that I've been destined for greatness. YEGMG is like, we sell apparel. My tracksuits, I ordered tracksuits. They sold out within 2 days, bro. I didn't even expect to sell that many. Got them, posted my story, boom, sold them all out. I have back orders, and I got like 40 back orders, bro. Plus, I got like mad hoodies, and with COVID, the shipping's been slow, and people are like, yo, where's my order? I'm like, I'm coming with it, I'm waiting on it. Shipping's slow, like, bear with me. And everyone's been really patient, but the support has been unreal. It's just been growing over the years because people are seeing that I'm coming from the right place, and I want change for the city. I want the city to get the attention it needs, because not just myself, there's a whole hip-hop, there's a whole music industry in the city. And there's a lot of talented artists in the city, singers, rappers, songwriters, cameramen, the list goes on. And we all need to get the recognition we deserve, but it just starts by one person striving for change and striving to bring everybody together.
So what do you think we need to do moving forward, addressing, what's the next step? Let's go back to the race conversation. What's the next step?
The next step is to get a sit down with the Edmonton police. And you and I were talking about that earlier. You said you guys had something before the protest started. And I think that after we have these next few protests, it'd be very possible to get a sit down with the police, because they know what's going on.
They're listening now.
They were listening. You guys have a platform. I have a platform. The people organizing Friday's event have a platform. If all of us come together and use our voice unanimously, and tell the police we want to sit down and talk about what's going on in the communities, I believe that we will get that sit down. And I believe that it will get televised so that people at home and people who are thinking that this issue is made up by people who are angry or uneducated will see that this is a real issue and it's not going away, and it's being addressed by the other side, by both sides. It's not just one group of angry people. It's a group of educated people who are hungry for change, talking with those who are able to make change. In today's world, education is key. Education is power, but you don't need to go to college to get education. You don't need to go to college to do something in the world. You know how celebrities are able to influence politicians, and some celebrities are able to go to the White House and influence presidents to change laws, is because of the world we live in. And if we use our platform, we use our voice in the right way, we will have enough influence to sway laws in the right way to make communities better for people across Canada.
To build policies and get bills passed and all that. Yep, 100%. So, at what point were you like, yo, I'm doing this protest? What was it that was like, yo, I need to do this?
On Monday, I went to the protest, and it got canceled. And I said, I'm still going, canceled or not, and I hope to see a lot of people there. I went, there were maybe like 30 people there when I got there, and more came and left, so overall I would say 50 people there. I had a good conversation with someone who was on the other side. He was a white supremacist. I posted on my YouTube. You guys can check that out. And it was a good, 10, 11-minute convo with him, hearing him out, and I gave him some good insights. I like to think that he learned a few things because he was definitely expecting a different conversation than the one we had.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good that he respected us enough to hear us out, and we respected him enough to hear him out.
Mm-hmm.
And that, me seeing the impact that one conversation made, really sparked in me. I said, okay, we're on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be those resisting, but we gotta just have respect for each other and sit down and talk. That's what we gotta do. Everyone has to have respect for each other, because if you have respect for me and I have respect for you, you're gonna hear me out and I'm gonna hear you out.
100%.
So that conversation, those interactions made me be like, we need a rally. When the Tuesday one got canceled, I said the same thing. I'm going out. Like, this is pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
They're rallying all over the world. London, Syria, Iran, New Zealand, all 50 states in America are rallying and protesting what's going on. Even Toronto, Vancouver, what was it? Regina. Out east, was it Newfoundland, Halifax? What? You know? And France. The list goes on. And Edmonton is just quietly sitting here saying, we'll have a digital protest, which is... I don't support the digital protest, because of course I support it. We're all fighting the same fight. My tool wouldn't be a digital protest. However, it's good that we did have a digital protest, because there were people who think that this isn't a issue. That's why no one's protesting. It's been a week and no one's protesting in Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
Those people watched the digital protest, and I know a lot of those people changed their stance, and they were educated about the things that were said on the digital protest, because I saw a lot of comments. But I was like, I personally will not benefit from a digital protest, because we won't benefit from a digital protest. The world won't benefit from a digital protest, because if they don't like what you're saying, they can just block your page.
Exactly.
They can just cancel your connection. But us being in the streets, you know that they care about their streets. They care about government buildings. They care about these things, and if there's groups of people there, they're going to pay attention. The news is going to come, and news is going to get out to the city and to the province and to the prime minister.
And that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened. And I was expecting a few hundred people, not how many were there. I was surprised. I didn't even realize how many people were there.
I didn't realize
until we started walking.
Exactly.
And I was like, yo, wait a minute. How many people are here? That was crazy. We were all in the front. Yo. That was crazy. There were different chants going on. We had a chant at the front and then the back, because they couldn't hear us, so they had their own chant going on. It was crazy, man.
It was powerful. It was really powerful.
It was a big step forward, showing that Edmontonians know there's racism here, and they're tired of it, and they want to take stand. Because the same way the Spirit led you to come yesterday, bro, the Spirit led a lot of other people to come. I had a group of people tell me, yo, we weren't going to come, we didn't know what was going on, and then one person saw your story, and then another group of our friends saw your live, so then we came, and we're like, yo, it's good, because we've been thinking the same thing. How come there's no rally? A lot of people saying, how come there's been no protests? This isn't right. Black lives matter. All lives matter. We know that. But black lives are the ones getting killed.
Right now, yeah.
Again and again and again.
100%.
So the city is taking a stand. People are thinking the way we're thinking. A lot of people aren't still, and that's okay, because they're gonna come around sooner or later. Not everyone's gonna come around off the bat. This is a long journey we're on.
It takes time. My thing was when it was over the weekend, I was like, if it's gonna take 1,000 conversations to spark some change, that's something we gotta be willing to do. That's something we gotta be willing to sit down with people. It sounds like it's gonna take forever, but it's actionable. You know what I'm saying? A conversation like you said you had with the white supremacist. You know what I'm saying? That is impactful. You tell another, when someone is a white supremacist and someone is a black person, and you bring up the idea of, I want to have a conversation with a white supremacist, a nigga will tell you you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? How can somebody sit and talk to someone that has totally radical beliefs? Because that's what white supremacy beliefs are. Very, very, very far right, very radical. Yes. It's basically saying, yo, I'm better than you because of this color of my skin.
Point blank, period.
So for you to have the audacity to say, yo, I'm gonna have this conversation with this person, says a lot about how powerful what we're fighting, the power behind what we're fighting for. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people wouldn't do that.
I want to know why they think that way. It's not enough for me to know, okay, you think that you're superior because you're. I want to know why. I want to know fundamentally why.
Why? Yeah, the rationale behind it. What makes you really believe that?
Yes.
And when you have that conversation one-on-one, you're able to counter the things, because now it's a conversation, it's a dialogue. A dialogue is agreed.
Yes.
The way me and you were having a conversation, you agreed to have this conversation.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So now you have to hear what I have to say, and I have to hear what you have to say. And then you can really provoke thought. People underestimate how powerful conversation can be. You know, think about all the entertainment we watch. A lot of it is just conversation.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it is just conversation. You sprinkle in a little bit of drama, throw in some action. You got yourself a Netflix series with 10 episodes. You're going to binge watch the whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the power of conversation is beyond just, I think it's more powerful than a protest. Because it's harder to do, because you have to do one-on-one. But it allows you to get through to people. It allows you to counter, what this guy is trying to say. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you did that, kudos to you. You know what I'm saying? That's really, really big. You know, I've never heard of anybody. I have heard of someone, actually. There's a guy, he was on the Joe Rogan podcast a couple months ago. His name's Daryl Davis. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I think he's a chubby guy, right?
He's a chubby black guy.
Honestly,
jazz musician.
Man, I watched his TED Talk. The day I went to the ledge on Monday.
Really?
On my way there. And he talked about befriending the Grand Wizard.
Yep, the Grand Wizard, yep.
Yeah, I watched it all, and that is what gave me that motivation to talk to this guy, to be like, you know what, this guy's right. I just want to hear, because I'm like, if this guy's able to make a Grand Wizard
of the Ku Klux Klan, hand in your hood and robe.
Yeah, that's serious. I was just hyping myself up with that as I was walking on the bridge to the ledge, just thinking about that. Because that guy happened to be there.
He explained. I was listening to it, and he explained he sat down, had a meeting with the Grand Wizard, and he came with the security guard or whatever, and the tension was in the room and whatever. And after they were able to cut the tension with an awkward scenario or something, they were actually able to have a productive conversation. And we need to get past, what my brother was saying at the protest yesterday. You got to make it uncomfortable first. Okay, make the conversation uncomfortable. Once you've gotten that out of the way, now we can have a progressive conversation. You know what I'm saying? An A and B conversation. Whatever, there may be some disagreements, but you're able to talk it out.
Yep.
That's why most of the world's problems are hashed out with meetings, summits, conversations. Right?
All of them.
It's not people think it's war, it's violence. Yeah, maybe violence might bring you to the table. Maybe that might spark some outrage, but it's dialogue. You know what I'm saying? It's opening up with dialogue. So kudos to you, bro.
Thank you, man.
You should be really, really proud of yourself.
I just want to inspire people to do the same.
And that's what we all want to do. We want to inspire people. Inspire people to be the change they want to see in the world. A lot of people are very, very pessimistic. A lot of people don't know if this is it. But me personally, in my heart, I feel like, not even in my heart, in my gut. You know what I'm saying? When you can relate to this because you do music. When you're working on tour or something, you get a feeling of the momentum shifting. You know what I'm saying? That's the feeling I have right now with everything that's going on in the world in terms of racism. Is that feeling is that the momentum shifting is overcoming not just my body. I'm pretty sure everybody can speak on this in this room.
Momentum's been shifting since the start of this year, even before COVID. I'm sure we all felt as soon as 2020 started, it was a different year. It wasn't a regular year. And with everything going on, the momentum has swung. It's not even shifting, it's swung. Because we're in the age of Aquarius, which is a digital age, the age of knowledge. Instagram and Twitter aren't censored. The same thing you and I see, a 5-year-old sees. The world is seeing, all ages, all walks of life are seeing what's happening in the world in real time. And people are getting upset about it, or they're condoning it. But either way, they're taking a stance. Because you can't not take a stance. You can't.
No, you can't.
You can't have no emotion to it because it's been happening so long. You see it all the time. My family members in the States send me articles before this all the time of black people getting killed and stuff. And I'm like, yo, I don't even want to be seeing this stuff. But you can't ignore it. And the same articles I see, white people see too. And not just white people, racists see too. Those who want oppression, they see that too. And they're like, good, that guy probably deserved it. He was probably talking back to the cops, this, that, and the third. So there's a huge swing in momentum, and we're going to harness this momentum swing for the betterment of our community and our city.
100%. That's what we're here to do. Let's talk about a little bit more about privilege, right? Privilege, obviously, there's white privilege. There's male privileges, obviously. How has privilege been? How have you seen the privilege affect your day-to-day life? White privilege, aside from the hockey thing, but in other ways.
People need to realize that white privilege is real. That's the first thing. It's not a made-up thing. It's very real. I'm sure we've all seen that YouTube video by now. It's a pretty old one. It's like everyone's starting the line. And if you grew up in a house with two parents, take a step. If you had an allowance, take a step. If you got a car as a gift, take it, And seeing that, because I can relate with everything that's gone on with that, that's another way that privilege is so prevalent in the society that people don't even realize. They just think, oh, no, like, everyone lives like this. And those who don't, like, well, that's not my problem. That's not my place to think about it. I personally, like I said, like, I grew up in an area, like, we were able to be in this area, but we didn't live like everyone else. Like, my parents worked hard and put everything they had to get us a good house in a good neighborhood. But we didn't have money for the creature comforts and the things that people in the suburbs always have, vacations, all that stuff. And, like, I was fine with that growing up. I didn't really see much of an issue with it growing up until I'd go to school and realize, oh, my friend got this, and, like, my friend's getting new clothes, and I gotta go to Value Village and shop. And I didn't really care at the time because I didn't care. I'm like, oh, as long as I have something on my body, I'm happy. But then I go to school and, like, people try to make fun of my clothes. I'm like, yo, like, what's wrong with what I'm wearing? Like, I'm not naked. Why would anyone care what I'm even wearing? And people not seeing that, like, white privilege is real. I was a chatty kid in school. I'm a talker right now. And I would get in trouble a lot for talking. And, rightfully so, if you're disturbing the class and you're doing something wrong, sure. But lots of times, like, I wasn't the one starting the talk, and I wasn't the one doing anything. My friends would be talking. As soon as I say something, like, all right, okay, get out of here.
They get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and they never see it. My white friends I remember I had this one friend in elementary, Austin, and he taught me so many swear words that I never knew. Bro, I grew up in a Christian Nigerian household. I'm barely allowed to watch TV or go on the computer. When I am, it's monitored in a short period of time. I don't know nothing about what these kids are watching, my age mates. He taught me so many swears, taught me so many, like, profane, inappropriate things at such a young age. And his mom had the audacity to tell him that she didn't want him hanging out with me because I'm a bad influence on him. I'm like, yo, how am I a bad influence? I didn't even know a fraction, anything of what you told me before we became friends, and I'm a bad influence.
That's something we see a lot of, but we don't speak on. You know what I'm saying? Where parents can say, hey, he's the bad apple, but it's like, yo, your child's a bad apple. You know what I'm saying? It's your child. You know what I mean? And I see it a lot, and it comes down to what we were talking about at the protest, accountability, right? If you're not taking accountability for your child and him being a bad apple, how can we expect you to take accountability for having these conversations about racism? How can we expect you to take accountability for taking this stuff into your own hands? It's the same parents that, their kid gets cut from the team, right? Because they're not good enough.
They're calling the organization.
They're calling the organization.
They're pulling strings. They're writing checks. They're calling in favors.
That is what is wrong with, not just like sports, but just like the upbringing. You got to hold kids accountable from a young age. You obviously were held accountable from a young age.
Yep.
like you were saying, your stuff was monitored. I know Nigerian households, you gotta be on top of your school.
Yep, I was
You
an
know what
honor
I'm saying?
student. We all, me and my siblings, my little brother, my 2 sisters, all honor students.
You know, so you're held accountable from a young age, so that now when you're a grown ass man, and it's time to really do some shit that's significant, you know, you can lean on that years of practice of accountability. You know, it's very hard to expect people to hold people accountable for things if they can't hold themselves accountable.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's the way I am with my little brother. Like, he an athlete, and he's going to the NFL. He's going to get a full ride scholarship, NCAA. He's going to the NFL first round, first overall. He's a superstar.
That's what's
and
up.
I train him up to be like that, and I'm like, yo, everything I hold you to, I hold myself to, you know. And I'm not even playing sports. Like, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I wake him up. We go for a run. We do a workout, and then he's got his online school. You know what I mean? And then I start my day. I'm not even playing sports. I'm like, I'm showing you. I'm leading by example.
What it takes.
Yes, what it takes to be great. Because it's not just about being a good athlete. It's about being a good human being. That is more important than any athletic accomplishment you can ever achieve.
Well, if you play sports and you're a fucking trash human being, you haven't accomplished anything in life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So sports does teach character. You know, sports does bring that, you know. I wanted to go back into music. You mentioned who your inspirations were for staying independent. Who was your biggest inspiration growing up in terms of just making music?
Honestly, man, I started making music, like I said, like maybe 5 years ago. So I didn't really have plans to make music growing up. I listened to like 50 Cent growing up. Eminem, Lil Wayne is my favorite artist
Of all time?
Of all time, yeah. Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, Meek Mill. Those are my musical inspirations. I am fans of their art style, and with like Meek Mill and Jay-Z, I'm fans of what they do outside of their music. I'm a student of what they do in the community and how they are fighting for change all over. You heard Jay-Z called the Minnesota governor.
A lot of people don't know that.
They don't.
Yeah.
The governor was trying to say, like, oh, yeah, Jay-Z called me. Like, that's sad that Jay-Z had to call you to be like, yo,
sad.
you got to charge this nigga.
That's very sad.
But I love what they do in the community, and I look up to them on that aspect of things and how they're still able to do that and still be great artists. That's rare.
Well, Jay-Z is my undisputed GOAT. That's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Not a question, and I'm glad we can agree on that.
Yes, we can, man.
I wouldn't have let you come here if we could. Jay is the GOAT. Yeah, no, but what they do outside of music is what's important. You know, the Kendricks, the Jay-Z's, the Meeks.
The Kendricks, the J. Cole's. Yes, I love J. Cole's music, and I love how he carries himself, what he stands for. You know, he is just through and through. And he's young. He's in like the same generation as Drake, the same age as Drake. He's not like up there like Jay-Z is like kind of grandfather of the whole game, you could say. J. Cole is still relevant, dropping music. Not that Jay-Z's not relevant, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's still
like he was at the protests with no security by himself in L.A.
And that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes. When you're frontline with your people that you're fighting for, that is leading by example. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you don't have to be there. Me and my bro, we don't have to be there. We can just sit at home like everybody else and tweet and whatever and do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you are speaking on the issue and then people look on social media and they see, oh, shit, this guy's there frontline. He's really with the shits. He's really about what he's talking about. That establishes a lot of credibility behind you. You know what I'm saying? And when it's time to go and make real change, they're going to say, yo, I was here.
Yes.
I was with these people walking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was with these people marching. I was with these people fighting for the same fundamental human rights. You know, because this is no longer, you know, a lot of organizations, they didn't want to comment on this shit because they did the politics, semantics, you know what I'm saying? But this is no longer about politics. This
well past that.
It's past. It's fundamental human rights. You're telling me as a black man, I want to walk down the street. I gotta worry. I gotta look over my shoulder. You know what? Growing up in Toronto, and a lot of Toronto people that listen to this can attest to this. What's the first thing you do when you get in your car?
Lock the door.
Lock the door, and then what? Put your seatbelt on.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Toronto, it's different. You sit down and you put your seatbelt on. You take your fitted off. Because you know if a police officer rolls up on you and you got that fitted on, they gon' come check that license plate.
Just for having a hat.
Just for having the hat. Just for looking the part. You know what I'm saying? Just for
What's
being black.
the part?
Exactly.
Being black.
Exactly. You know, and this stuff happens a lot. A lot. Getting pulled over for no reason. All this stuff. It's our reality.
Yeah.
You know, I know I can speak for every black person when they pull up to a light and there's a cop beside them. Your ass gets tight.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah. Like
you haven't done anything illegal.
Like, I'm just gonna keep looking.
You just keep looking straight forward. White people can't understand that, or even understand that. You know, when you walk into a store,
being followed.
When
you're here to spend money in this establishment, and give you my hard-earned money, I'm being followed and being made to feel like a second-class customer,
second-class citizen.
Second-class citizen.
Like it's flat out wrong, you know. So we have to start dismantling those stereotypes, you know. And those stereotypes are so embedded in society that white people, when you tell them about racism, about your personal racist experiences, they're quick to dismiss it. They're quick to clap back with all lives matter. Which means they're not taking it seriously, which is why these conversations are necessary.
Yeah. All lives can't matter until black lives matter, because black lives is part of all lives, is it not?
Yes. Black lives is part of black lives. And I like the analogy, and I've seen this analogy a lot. It's like, if I'm cut and the white guy's cut and I need a Band-Aid, are you going to go and give that guy a Band-Aid? Because all cuts matter? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's some shit like that. I don't know exactly this.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, if you got a cut and someone else doesn't have a cut, you're going to just give everyone Band-Aids?
No, that's not how it works.
All skin matters. You know, all cuts matter. His future cut will matter. Like, no, if a house is on fire, the fire trucks aren't going to come spray every house, because all houses matter.
100%. 100%. And the next thing I was going to say is, I don't like to get political on this podcast, but do you think politics has some sort of impact, or vice versa, with racism here in Alberta?
Yes, it does. It truly does. I don't pay too much attention to politics, so I'm not even going to be able to dig too deep into the conversation with you. However, I do know that Bill 1 that passed, that everyone was concerned about, that bill was signed. It was an executive order, so as soon as it was signed, it was officially a bill. It didn't have to go through the proper channels, and it came so fast. Conveniently fast. I thought it was bullshit. Yeah, me too. And then I like dug deep. I found some articles, and I found the actual document. I read over it, and it's legitimate, but it's just another way that the government is trying to control us. That's why they want to scare people into saying they're going to fine them $25,000 or 6 months in jail, or both. They want it to be an online rally, like I said, so they can just censor it. They can cut communications. They can block. They can do whatever they want when it's online. But when you're there in person, they can't control you.
That's true. They can't. You know, and for the most part, it was a very, very peaceful protest. It was peaceful. You know, there was no ill will. There was no hate speech. You know, we did what we came to do.
Yeah.
Bring some awareness to the issue, get some attention, and let people know. And I don't think it's a coincidence that, you know, all that happened and Trudeau finally acknowledged that systemic racism is a problem in Canada.
It's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence. Because that was today, no?
No, it was yesterday.
That was yesterday. So same day that we held our rally. You know,
that's big, and that is the beginning of it's one step towards change. You know, that's the optimistic view we need to have when the head of your country acknowledges that. We've been acknowledging that this is stolen land. That's been acknowledged, right? But now you're also acknowledging that the system is not benefiting those. It's supposed to protect. It's not designed to protect us, but it's supposed to protect us, right? That's a big step in the right direction.
Yes.
Right? And that's why we're having this conversation, because you know what? Like you said, we both have a platform, and we need to come together to amplify our voice. And it might be like, people might be like, oh, they're talking about racism again. You're goddamn right. We're going to keep talking about this issue until everybody realizes that, yo, we're discriminating against people because of the color of their skin. That's just fucking nonsense.
On the daily, I had people tell me, yo, bro, you shouldn't go protest. There's no need to protest and bring that stuff here to Alberta because there's no racism here in Alberta. White people, of course. And I said, you telling me that is racist. Mm-hmm. That is a prime example of racism. And the dude messaged me saying, yo, man, like, I listen to your music, I support your music, but, like, you're wrong here. And I'm like, look, I don't even want you listening to my music if that's how you think. And don't call me bro, because, like, I'm not your bro. I want you to see what's going on. You can watch from a distance, and you will circle back since you listen to my music. You can't be all the way gone. You can't be there's hope. There's hope. But at that point in time, I wasn't prepared to have that conversation with him. I'm just like, you know what, you stay over there, and you'll watch and see what we do. And people like that are swayed with events like yesterday's. Because people like that are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They follow what's popular, and the popular thing in Edmonton was not to protest, was to deny that racism exists here. So I am going to keep fighting this alongside you, alongside homie, alongside my brother, all of us, alongside the city, because we know it's real here, and we know the system is built against us, and we know that sitting down with police chiefs and with governors, or I guess we're not in America, with premiers and with prime ministers and with business owners and with the right people will make a difference, because that's how we can get into the system. The system's broken, and it can't be attacked. It can't be attacked from outside. It can't be dismantled from outside. It has to be done from inside.
That's spot on, big fella. Man, appreciate you coming out.
My guy.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, bro.
You already know.
It's been a pleasure, man. God bless you.
Yeah,
I'm going to be back, bro. It's only the beginning, man.
You give everybody a shout out. Let them know where they can find your music.
Hey, you can find my music on Apple Music, Spotify, everywhere. Type in OGJonah.com. You'll see all my videos, all that stuff. Check out YEGMG.com. You'll see the merchandise, the apparel. We got tracksuits, hats, T-shirts, flip-flops, side bags. I'm running out of breath here. You know, we got everything. So check it out. We're always promoting for the community, and we're always giving back. So check us out. This week's giveaway, actually, I'm going to shout it out while I'm here. Red Room Studio, we're giving away a studio package worth $250 for you to make your first track if you're an upcoming artist. So I'm going to drop the description details for that under this video or somewhere. And yeah, you already know it's your boy OG, 780 Prince, putting on for the city, because we need a voice. We need to come together. We need to all bring our voices together. And we're leading change. Let's do it.
We're here fighting good fight, baby.
Yes, sir.
The Gifted Gab. Shout out the other half of the Gifted Gab. He's not here with us, Andre Kelly. But, you know, we're here. We're here to make a difference, man. One step at a time.
Yes, sir.
And just like that, we gone.